following is a paid program. The opinions expressed are not necessarily those of WNBU and Interbanks Media. Welcome to All Things Money with David Blain, a thoughtful and revealing discussion of actionable ideas and effective strategies to help you through the complex world of investing, taxes, and real estate. Now, with All Things Money, here's David Blain.
Hello and welcome to All Things Money. I'm your host, David Blain. We thank you for joining us today on 94.1 FM WNBU as well as cable TV 10 in New Bern, North Carolina. We also welcome our viewers and listeners who are streaming from our website, www.dlblain.com. In addition to all the TV and radio shows there, we have a wealth of articles in our knowledge base. We invite you to explore it. Some good tips and in-depth information on all things financially related. You'll also find some information on myself and my firm, as well as the services we provide, and that's kind of what we want to talk about today. And some of the services that I provide, one of the most gratifying things I've found, in addition to helping people, we've started with people in their 50s and moved them through retirement and watched them enjoy the fruits of their labor, the fruits of their saving and investing. Well, also, we've had the opportunity now, we've had some children that we've been able to work with, children of clients that are now adults on their own, that are out in the workplace now making money. Some of them, I remember going to some of their events at the high school and going over to their house and having them invite me to a high school soccer match or a play that they were doing and things like that while they were young children. And now they're all grown up and they have jobs, and some of them are even starting to get married. And I just really enjoy helping those people with their finances as well. Even though they don't have millions of dollars and are just starting out, it's very important. And so I thought I'd devote most of the show today to talking about that. Some of the habits that you pick up as a young person really carry you through as an adult. And if you can learn things when you're just starting out, teens, early 20s, some good financial habits, it really will set you up for life. I mean, I can't emphasize that. I'm to this day eternally grateful to my own parents who taught me the basic principles of saving, staying out of debt, investing for the long term, and working hard and going out and hustling and making some money and putting that away, having a budget, things like that. So what I wanted to do today was reach out to those young people in the audience. Now, even if you're 50 and if you don't understand these concepts, or it's not too late to start, but a lot of the things are specifically tailored to younger people starting out. If you haven't done them, it's not too late, and go ahead and try to develop these habits. And the number one thing is, don't go out and get educated, learn about finances. There are some basic principles, and we're going to help you with some of those today. But what we generally see, people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that are in bad positions, it's based on some bad decisions they made previously in life and simply either did not get educated or did not seek out advice from somebody. So number one thing is, don't bury your head in the sand, and realize that whether you think money is important or not, it is the way society functions today, and it is very important. It may not be your goal to make millions of dollars, and that's nice, but when you go down to the Food Lion or Harris Teeter to buy your groceries, they would like some money. They don't care about your goal to save the world from polio or cure cancer, things like that. They would like some money for that food you're trying to buy. The same thing with a car or things like that. So even though money is not the most important thing and a lot of people have other interests, you've got to learn the basic principles to function in society. One of the most basic things, I see this every day, people come in 50, 60 years old, getting ready to retire, and I ask them, well, do you keep your budget on Quicken or QuickBooks, or do you use a spreadsheet, or do you just use a piece of paper? And I would say about 75% of the time I get this answer of, well, we don't really have a budget. or I don't like to use the term budget because people, tend to shy away from that. I say a cash flow plan. Do you have a cash flow plan? Meaning that the money that flows into your account, the cash, do you have a plan on where it's going to flow out to? Cash flow plan. You can call it a spending plan, budget, cash flow plan, whatever you want. But you have got to have a plan. If you don't, what typically happens through the month or the year is that money just gets spent on whatever the most pressing need is. But if you have a plan for that money that comes in ahead of time, then you tend to stay in control. And that's what we want you to be. We want you to be in control of your money, not the bank, not the credit card company, not the auto loan company, not the government that you borrowed the student loan money from. We want you to be in control of your money so that you can get to where you want to go. So that's the biggest thing, is have a cash flow plan, have a budget. Number two is stay out of debt, especially consumer debt. You don't need to finance a TV or your furniture or things like that. I don't even like to see people finance cars. I see this all the time. A young person, they go out, they borrow a bunch of money to go to college. And we've talked about that extensively on this show, the fallacy of borrowing tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to college. So we're going to say, don't get yourself in a bunch of debt to go to college. Those that do, what I typically see is then they go out, they interview, they get a job, and then they go out and they buy a car. And then maybe they go out and buy a house, they get married. So you have someone that's 25, 26 years of age, they have student loan debt, probably a little bit of credit card debt, they've bought a car, maybe two cars if they got married, and then they want to go out and buy a house. Unless they have an extremely high-powered or high-salary job and change their spending habits, they're never going to get control of that situation. So try to stay out of debt as much as possible. There's nothing wrong with the prudent use of debt. Purchasing a reasonable home with a decent down payment at a low interest rate, nothing wrong with that. Going out and financing a trip around the world, yeah, I got a problem with that. That's not what I would call prudent use of debt. A corollary to that is let compound interest work for you. When you're borrowing money, not only are you paying that back, but you're paying the interest back. Whereas if you invest or save, you're allowing the principle of compound interest to work. And when you have $1,000 in your savings account and you're making 0.5%, compound interest doesn't seem like really a great idea. But just imagine if you had billions of dollars, 0.5% is a lot of money. We're coming up on our first break, and when we come back, we'll continue talking about some of the money moves you should be making when you're young, so that when you're old, you can enjoy life and have some money saved up. So for All Things Money, I'm your host, David Blain, and we'll be right back after a few short messages.